Hello, this is Mirek Hornich with another episode of the Pavel Prochaska podcast. Hi, Norbert.
Hi guys, I'm Norbert Musil.
Today we're meeting here with Pavel Prochaska. Hi, Pavel.
Hello.
We're going to talk about positive thinking. Today, dear viewers, you'll learn what a person who thinks positively behaves like. We'll also talk about what the benefits of positive thinking are, what positive thinking is all about, whether it can be learned or not, and what it actually is. Pavel, do you have a specific situation as an example? It really looks like Norbert and I were quite late today.
Yeah, true.
Is there any way to turn this into something positive so that you don't get angry?
How do I feel about it? I'm angry with you. I finally arrived on time for once, so I can enjoy it. It's interesting. How can I think positively about this? Well, I immediately called someone and said, hey, what should I do about them? And the answer came, they're good guys. And it was okay. I felt better. So you're good guys today.
We're good guys. Okay, but how would it be if you took it negatively? Yeah, I'd be interested to know.
That's a good example. I'd just get angry. I'd look angry. If I were such a wonderful husband or wife, there are people who would look angry for a whole day. They remain silent, showing that they didn't like it, poisoning the atmosphere like when you spit an evil spell into the water. It affects everything. It'll affect future recording, and it's all completely unnecessary. It's better to be honest about it, you good guys. Don't do it again, and next time you'll say it again. Because it'll happen again, and you're done.
And that's sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put a stop to it and then move on.
In other words, a person with positive thinking can turn it into something positive. They'll see it positively and not make an issue out of it.
They'll say, you've upset me. They don't make a big deal out of it and move on.
But a negative person or someone with a negative mindset wouldn't be able to process it and would just go around being angry all day.
And they would feel justified in doing that all day. And you'd enjoy it, really kick it off and get it rolling.
What's the correct way?
Like I said, to make the issue clear and move on. And move on. And be happy that I was in time as usual.
That's fine.
And move on, don't get caught up in it. It happens.
And next time, just come in earlier.
Of course, that's clear. So what else can you do about it?
It would be good to talk about what we can learn about positive thinking today in the podcast, because it will be an episode.
Well, look.
For people not only in the workplace, but also in everyday life. What are the advantages of dealing with these situations and being positive?
Tell me how you perceive the term positive thinking. What does it mean to you?
Norbert, the floor is yours.
Thank you for giving me the floor. This is a very good topic. For me, positive thinking or a positive mindset is the main indicator that a person is able to turn some negative thing or action, such as someone arriving late, into a positive thing. That they don't take it too seriously and find something good in it to learn from it somehow, not to be late next time. You don't do that. Of course, we already know that.
So, next time?
Next time, we'll make sure to arrive on time as agreed. That won't happen. We've caused some drama.
Yeah, no problem. It's all sorted now. Don't worry.
We get it.
These things happen. It's okay. And you, Mira?
Wow, it's an interesting topic for me. Really fascinating, because social media has instilled in me this basic idea that I have to be positive all the time, constantly positive in every possible way. And everything on social media is positive. Everyone posts amazing photos showing what amazing lives they live. I don't really know what to picture when I hear that. But I understand that some people are driven by fear. They deprive themselves of opportunities for personal development and experiences, and they become twisted and stuck in a cycle. And then there are positive people who say, I'm going there to explore this, even though I'm afraid. And thanks to that, they actually grow. Whether it makes sense or not, I don't know. You can tell us more about that.
It's a bad translation.
Is it?
It's called positive thinking, but that doesn't mean thinking positively about bad things. Like today, the weather is so beautifully awful, and I'm so incredibly happy that it's raining cats and dogs. No, that's just lying. That's not a positive attitude. When the weather is awful, it's just awful. The positive approach is, fine, I'll take a book and read something nice. You find a positive way out of it, not by lying to yourself or lying to those around you. If you're unhappy, you're unhappy. If you're hungry, you're hungry. So this should be called a constructive approach.
That's a nice name for it.
Constructive means that you say, the definition is, give me the clarity to accept the things I cannot change. When it rains, it rains. Give me the opportunity to influence the things I can. What can I do with my free time? And give me the wisdom to know the difference. This means that you don't worry about things you can't influence. Politics, weather, where you live. I think that 90% of things are beyond your control, so there's no point in complaining about them, commenting on them, or even noticing them. Honestly, there's no point in reading news online and things like that. It doesn't really concern you. You should focus on what concerns you, what you can influence. That's constructive. As for the other things, well, that's just the way it is.
To come to terms with it.
There are people who can deal with these things, accept them in a flash, and live happy lives. And there are people who take a long time to come to terms with them. Maybe an hour, a day, a week, for some even a year or more than that. They make their lives hell. Some people have a small range of emotions. Damn it, it's raining again, so I'll read a book. And some people have a huge dramatic range. They make a hysterical scene. You see that with small children. They can roll around on the ground and do somersaults. For some, it will stay that way.
You know that.
We all know it. The point is to have a small range of emotions and to balance things quickly. I admire my friend who, whatever happens, he always says that's just the way it is, and that's the end of it for him. Or he'll say, the young people arrived late, the world is all right. If they were on time, I'd be worried. And that's it. I really like that. I really do. He focuses on what he can do. And that's how he makes his life beautiful, or chooses the beautiful things in it. But that doesn't mean he's lying. Positive thinking isn't about twisting things and looking at the bad things in a better light.
It seems to me that we young people do this, constantly seek it.
That's marketing.
It's all that constant chatter about how everything is positive and wonderful, and we manifest it. And when things are awful, they're just awful. But turn it into me going to read a book.
When someone passes away, it's okay to be sad. Sadness is a part of life. When you fail at something, it's okay to be angry for a while, because that's just how it is. When you lose a tennis match, you're not happy about it. You'd have to be really weird to be happy about losing. But the next day I go and say, what didn't work for me? Hitting volleys. And I go and practice volleys. That's the constructive approach. I accepted it and I'm going to improve. I think that a lot of people make their lives hell, really.
And can this positive thinking be learned and practiced? I mean, can it be acquired?
It can, because you're the one who decides how you're going to look at things. Let me give you an example. We play a game on our training courses that we call Red or Green. I've been playing it with my trainees for about 30 years. About 20,000 people have played it with me, so I'd say that's a pretty solid sample size. And the game is based on the players being dependent on each other. You have a card in your hand and there are two options. You can write either A or B on it. If you write Adam, capital A, you both get plus 5 points. And if you write capital B, you get plus 10 points, and your colleague gets minus 10 points. But writing A or B isn't enough. That's not the end of the game. You write one of those letters, say A, you pass it to your colleague, and your colleague writes either number 1 or number 2 on it. If you put down A, your colleague can add number 1 to that A, which means they agree that you'll each get 5 points. But they can also write number 2 next to the A, which means they get plus 10 and you get minus 10. That means that they will either trust you or betray you, and that is exactly how it works. And you are sitting here thinking, I trust Norbert. I will put down A, and I believe he'll put down a 1.
I would do that.
Well, I don't know. Is that wrong? I'd like to see you do that. Or you think to yourself, no, I'll play it safe. I want to be on the safe side. I'll put a B there. And he writes a B, and Norbert knows that it can only end up as a negative for him. So, of course, he gives you a negative, right? And that sets off a spiral of mistrust. The path to victory is simple. Everyone writes A1. Then after that round, they swap. You start, and it's also A1, and you keep going with A1s. And after all those rounds, you each have 50 points, and you're ahead, and you're in the positive. Or you give each other minus 10s as punishment, and you'll end up at minus 100. So, Mira, how many of those 20,000 people do you think had any positive results?
What do you think, Norbert?
Just a handful, I'm afraid. But that's mathematically precise. Just a handful. 6 of them would be a lot. 6?
Wow.
Once again, out of how many?
Out of 20,000? That's unbelievable. So 6? Only 6 of them had positive thinking?
6 people had the confidence to try and take the risk, and they met someone who reciprocated that confidence. There were 2 situations. Either they didn't trust them right from the start, which is about 70% of people, I should take them down immediately. The other will take revenge. And about 30% say, I'll give an A, they'll give me a 1. But they run into someone who looks and says, hey, that's an A, I can screw them over and keep the extra 10. And then you say to yourself, oh, is that how you're playing it? Just, you wait, I'll get you back. And you start giving each other a hard time.
I don't believe it.
You bet. Let's play it at work one day.
With pleasure. Now I've forgotten the question I wanted to ask.
Did these people know each other or not? They knew each other. Some did, some didn't.
That means it was in a company?
No difference. Some knew each other, some didn't. It's behavioral economics. In an environment where polite behavior is the norm, people naturally adjust and behave accordingly. They tend to mirror the standards around them. You enter a new environment, someone behaves inconsiderately, and you catch yourself responding in the same way. That's exactly the point. This is how negative behavior spreads. You immediately think to yourself, they're going to cheat, so I'd better cheat first. You spread negativity, or you offer a helping hand and the other one punches you with theirs. They return negativity to you because they're full of fear and bad experiences, believing that whatever good they do won't be returned. That's negative thinking, and that's how you make your life hell, by being cautious all the time. You expect the worst and those things start happening to you because that's how you behave. Your surroundings start reflecting that back on you. Many people say, I'm rich, I have an apartment, I have a car, I have a job, I have a family, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy because you live in a village, in a city, in a country where people act like this. So a person can't be happy when everyone else is out to deceive them. Not possible.
You are who you are around, or the environment you spend time in, right?
Of course.
If I come into contact with positive-minded people and stay in that environment, I'll probably pick up their attitude and start thinking positively too. Sure. That means that I'd also start thinking positively. I'd say it's actually quite simple, right? Today you might be in toxic relationships, surrounded by people who drain you, but you have to recognize that, realize that you feel bad when they're around, or you're with people who cheer you up, who motivate you, and who say, Mira, man, it's cool, everything is okay.
Some people even have sledge syndrome.
Wow, what's that?
A man is at home in his house. Outside there are snow-covered fields. He says to himself, I'll go to my neighbor's to borrow a sledge. He gets dressed and walks up the hillside, the snow up to his waist. A third of the way there he thinks, but what if he won't? Lend me the sledge. Am I going there for nothing? Then he waves his hand. He'll lend it to me. He's a friend. 2/3 of the way there he says to himself, he definitely won't lend it to me. I didn't pay for his beer at the pub, and I let my frustration take over, but I'll talk him into it. And again he continues, and at the last moments, just before the door, he thinks he definitely won't lend it to me. He hasn't lent it or anything else to anyone. He's been weird. He definitely won't lend it to me. The guy gets to the door, knocks, and the neighbor opens the door. The guy looks at him and says, you know what? You can keep the sledge as a souvenir. He turns around and walks away.
In other words, he can put it on display.
That's how a lot of people behave. They go to solve something, end up psyching themselves up negatively, and then they just let it all out, and everyone around them looks at them like they're crazy. They expect a worse outcome rather than a better one, and they say, I've had some bad experiences, so I'll get it over with in advance. That's a path to hell. You can have as rich a society as you want, but you still won't be living in a happy environment.
Interesting. How can we change that? Now consider this. I'm a young guy, 26 years old. You're 28. 28. You see, even 28, he's an older gentleman, more mature. And now consider that we're 26, 28-year-old guys, and I wonder what we should do and what we should be looking for. Not just young people. I think I'm also asking on behalf of our older viewers, what should we do to achieve this positive thinking? How can we do that?
Constructive.
Or constructive.
There are several techniques.
We don't want to be idealists, dreamers. There are enough of those around.
And very annoying ones.
Excuse me, I'll move it closer for you. And where do we young people come in? What should we do? I mean, what should we practice to develop constructive thinking?
First and foremost, you need to think in terms of a win-win mode. That's essential. And that means that you put an A on that card and hope to get a card with an A back. As soon as you start to think negatively about the future, it will happen. This is beautifully illustrated in a story about the difference between heaven and hell. In a book, they wrote that a man went to heaven and asked an angel, what is the difference between heaven and hell? The angel replied, I'll show you. He took him to hell, and hell consisted of people sitting around a table, terribly hungry. with an incredible amount of food on the table, but they couldn't eat because they had long spoons stuck to their hands so that they couldn't actually reach their own mouths. That's hell. Hunger, food, and you can't eat. And the guy says, yeah, that's hell. And what does heaven look like? Come to the next room. Zzz, they went next door. At first glance, it looked exactly the same. A table and food, long spoons, but the people are laughing. The man asks, what's the difference? The angel answers, here they feed each other. That means you have to be prepared to meet the other side halfway, and they have to meet you halfway too. And look for people who are also like that. There's no point in being friendly and open to a criminal who'll rob you. No, you have to avoid criminals, right? And over time, you'll build a community of 100 people around you. You won't meet many more of them in your life.
100 is a lot.
Most people have 96 people around them. Write down a list of people who are important to you, family, school, friends at work, customers. You'll find that there are around 96 of them. Try it sometime. It's interesting. These people should be constructive, and you'll have a wonderful life with them. You shouldn't surround yourself with people who wait for you to be accommodating and then take advantage of it. You'll find that out very quickly. Don't look at what the person says, but at what they do. You'll quickly eliminate them. So that's the first point. Win-win.
That's a clear formula. I won't seek out people who only take and give nothing back because there's no win-win with them.
Have positive expectations. Expect that it's more likely that you'll reach an agreement. Right? We came here today expecting to record a podcast. I believe so. But there are people who'd say it's not worth it. It's going to be too complicated and too hard. I'll have to get there on time. And I'll have to prepare myself. And then I'll start complaining. Complaining is literally a national sport in some countries. The more they complain, the better. These are the energy vampires. And of course, you should avoid people like this. You want someone who expects that things will turn out well.
Of course.
Entrepreneurs and athletes are people who have positive expectations. These are the most dedicated people in the world. The Vatican should use us because we always believe that a project will succeed. We make mistakes and we mess up and we fail, but we get up and try again a second time, a third time, an eighth time, a 10th time, and then we succeed. No, we're not afraid of failure. And we always believe that things will work out. And if they don't, we adjust something. We try again. That's a positive approach. If you don't have that, you try to avoid mistakes. That's the opposite approach. Those who do nothing,
Make no mistakes.
that's what school teaches us.
We get that from school, no doubt about it.
To avoid getting an F or a D, just don't do anything. And that will basically ruin your whole life. A positive person is creative, someone who makes mistakes, laughs about them, and isn't afraid of them at all.
But at the same time, when they make a mistake, they know about it. And because they have that sporting mindset, they can improve next time. They say, I messed up, but I'll do better next time.
Now, I remember that I have one customer, a very nice lady, and she says that they have so-called failure showcase nights in Prague.
Have you ever heard of it? I haven't.
They meet up at Lucerna and discuss their various screw-ups.
Lucerna?
I think so, if I remember correctly. It's an excellent idea. Excellent. I bet you'd be surprised to see that. Those highly successful entrepreneurs and celebrities only have a 10% success rate, and 90% of what they do is a total failure. And nothing happens.
Wow.
Sure, believe me.
Totally the opposite of social networks. Totally. Imagine someone telling you not how beautiful everything is and amazing, polished, but someone telling you everything they've screwed up.
I really like it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot too.
We'll do a screw-up podcast one day, okay? We'll be here for 4 hours straight.
Listeners, let us know if we should do a failure highlights episode.
There's one thing behind negative thinking, and that's fear. They say that fear is the root of all evil, and when someone is afraid, they say in advance, they won't put down one for me, and they'll definitely let me down. I won't shake their hand. I'd rather keep my hands in my pockets. They'll definitely rob me. So fear is behind it, and that fear actually defines you, limits you, and you end up living a poor quality life because of it. Be constructive. Don't be afraid of mistakes. It means you look more to the future than to the past. You believe more that it'll work out than that it won't. You're not naive. No, you'll do your best to make it work, but you have that basic belief and you try. You don't tell yourself that it's not worth it. It's going to be hard, things like that.
Norbert, what about you?
I'd just like to know if it's right to automatically trust strangers.
No, definitely not. Always look at what they are doing. See what they're saying. See what they're doing and check it out.
What does it mean to check it out or verify it these days?
You get to know people when you first start working together.
But what comes to my mind is social media. Let me give you an example. The top 10 things you need to do to be successful in business, some kind of reel on the internet.
Check if the person has been successful in business for at least 10 years. If not, I wouldn't even listen to them.
I click on their Instagram profile. I look up the person's name, check out their previous projects, their background, and what school they went to, their reputation, what they have and haven't done. Based on that, I form an opinion as to whether that person is relevant.
Of course, you get references for them from someone else and observe them for a while. Even that time gap, observing them for maybe 2 months, gives you some flexibility in your decision making and so on. You don't just let anyone into that 96. That 96 is a big asset. If you're on social media and you're friends with, I don't know, some celebrity like Taylor Swift, and she likes your posts, then you're in a different place. If you don't have her in your 96, then you're somewhere else again. That group of 96 is extremely important. And you actually create it passively through primary school, high school, or college in the family you were born into, which is, say, 60 people, and you actively create the remaining 36. Who you socialize with, who you do business with, who your banker, accountant, tax advisor is, who your colleagues, your subordinates are. You can choose all of that. And the richest and most talented people surround themselves with the most amazing people. It's incredibly important who you put there. We usually place emphasis on the partner who we share our lives with.
That's the closest one to us.
You also marry their parents.
Marry their parents? What?
Well,
You get the full package.
I have children, so one of my daughters got married. They fell in love, then they dated and lived together, and now they're married. And they didn't realize that their parents had to get to know each other too. I actually gained the boys' parents in my family.
I see.
We threw a party. They're fantastic people, so I actually gained some great people who are a lot of fun to be around. You're not always that lucky. That happens.
If a partner is a great, amazing, positive personality, then they probably got that from their parents.
Big mistake, Mira.
No way, really.
That's not necessarily the case. It's not really a rule.
I thought it was like that.
No, it's not really, and you can't really choose that either. But you can choose your business partners, bankers, banks, suppliers. They're incredibly important because if they're good people, you do business together. And if there's a problem, you laugh it off and solve it. Or they may be someone who takes advantage of you, squeezes you financially, and ignores deadlines and agreements. You might encounter someone who'll make your life hell.
Get rid of them and find someone who'll do it for you.
Yeah, of course. The constructive approach is that you trust, and if it works, you support it. If it doesn't, you cut it off and try something else. You don't worry about it.
I think I finally understand it. Do you understand it too?
I guess I can say I definitely do. I can say I do.
You can say you do.
But I have a question about that. Me too. We'll start. We'll find a way.
Rock, paper, scissors.
We were just talking about how to check people online so we can trust them. But how do you do that when you meet someone in person for the first time? How can you check on them when you can't look them up and find out anything about them?
I can get references from other people, make a small deal with that person first, and test them that way. I talk to them about how they'd handle certain situations. When you hear what they say, watch their body language and observe them over the course of a month, perhaps at several meetings. You'll sense a discrepancy between what they say and how they behave. Most people can lie with words, but they can't lie with body language unless they're actors. When something about the person seems strange, beware.
Yes. And in real life, if someone came up to me on the street and said something to me, how would I know? That's probably not possible because I don't have any information about them. I have nothing.
I'd automatically be cautious there.
What does it mean to automatically be cautious?
I don't commit to anything. I don't buy anything. I don't sign anything. I don't negotiate anything. I say, okay, I'll think about it. We'll see. We'll set up a meeting. We'll go over it and so on.
Yeah, I think it's wise to be cautious. That's clear.
Time, spread it out over a longer period, and a lot of things will become much clearer over that time.
You can't judge a person immediately, straight away. You just watch their actions.
Energy company scammers and Forex scammers, for example, actually bet on convincing you right there and then. They catch you by surprise and you commit to something by phone or whatever. You always have to avoid that. Say, let's see, I'll think about it, we'll meet up. Give it some time. A timeout is a wonderful thing.
Check things, verify them. In fact, you're giving yourself time.
And secondly, send it to me in writing. They won't send anything as it could end up or in legal proceedings. Put that in writing, son.
That's smart. It is.
Thirdly, take a third party with you, as it's possible to manipulate one person, but it's difficult to manipulate two. For example, I focus on you, and then after the meeting, you say something about him doesn't seem right. To me, I've been watching him and he's not exactly okay. Also, a good trick,
Then you can talk about it.
discuss it. You'll realize a lot of things.
Because I can be influenced by feelings, by something, by this or that.
Definitely.
Or by something else.
And Norbert next to me says, hey, you know what? Next time we'll be late again.
That's the best solution we can find.
That brings another question to mind, Pavel, and I'm coming back to positive thinking, which we're talking about today. We young people would like to practice and command a positive approach because the benefits are obvious. So I'll do well and have nice people around me. But young people get burnt a few times. We are generous and trusting, and I think that we humans are just wired that way, that it's in us from birth. I'm done with people who I don't trust.
That's the Czech approach. Abroad, they taught me that if you hold out your hand and get slapped, you have to find the strength to hold it out again. It's really hard.
That's damn hard.
That's the key difference between us and them.
What you're saying is that Czechs tend to have a negative outlook.
Yes.
They're not constructive.
Yes.
How come? Where does it come from? Is it something intergenerational? Are young people to blame for it? Where can we find the cause?
Fear.
Of what? Of what?
Lack of courage.
You mean we lack the courage to push back?
Yes. Yes, we are. Those kinds of sayings like if you don't do anything, you can't mess anything up, or a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush are just things you won't really find in the same way in other languages. Or don't paint the devil on the wall. They paint angels on walls.
Which is better?
This is called negative language. We all use a lot of negative language. Let's say you decide to have a competition. For a week, you promise not to swear when you get home. And you won't complain. Try not to complain, swear, or speak negatively for a week. And don't use phrases like, it's impossible, or I can't. Use positive language. Have positive expectations and notice the positive things. Those are 3 techniques, so write them down somewhere. Positive language. I don't use negatives and that sort of stuff. Positive expectations. I'm looking forward to something, and positive things. I noticed that Mira has nice ears instead of noticing that Mira was late again. You can choose that. You really can. When there's a difficult meeting and you notice things you like about someone, it reflects in your body language and it affects the meeting. It's a really purposeful technique that helps when dealing with difficult people. Notice the positive things, or in the proposal they present you, notice the positive things that can be built on. Change the bad ones later, but start with the ones that you can build on. Don't start with the differences. Lots of people start out with the offer is good, but I don't like this. They start pointing fingers. That's negative communication. This ends in conflict.
What should it be like?
I'd say that the offer has 10 parameters and 9 of them are great. This is great. I like this. I would build on that. I'd spend maybe 5 minutes on it. But in the end, there's one thing I need to sort out. And when we sort it out, we'll sign it because 9 points are great. That's a completely different conversation. That person is filled with some hope, some possibility that you'll agree. They're looking for ways to agree, not looking for reasons not to agree.
Are you sure there's something positive in every single situation? Really every situation?
No, definitely not. I didn't mean that. But you can talk about it in a positive way, looking for common ground rather than differences. Then for differences. It's not a problem if I have to list 5 things we agree on. Things we agree on. But I can also list 5 things on which we differ, and therefore choose how to start the conversation that will have an impact on it. I suggest either cooperation and harmony or conflict in confrontation. And we are incredibly confrontational. We base things on those differences. And I would say let's base things on harmony. And that's what you can choose. You got it from your family and you don't even realize it. In many households, conversations drift toward complaints about everyday frustrations.
It can't be influenced?
For one thing, and for another, it's a psychological game. When we swear together, we're like buddies on the same side, swearing at the road or whatever else. We Czechs bond in this way, just like the Slovaks. But we don't actually realize that we're hurting ourselves. We could also bond and get closer together in other ways. Like with the help of humor, like when you were at school and this and that happened and you start laughing about some old story together. That's also being in sync, being in harmony, but in a positive, nice way, so try not swearing for a week. A lot of People find out they have nothing to talk about.
That's very sad, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Very sad. Yeah, try it. It's hard. It's really hard. Then all of a sudden, positive topics start popping up. When something goes wrong, you learn to say, you know, it's Monday. Instead of cursing for 20 minutes, say it's Monday.
Classic. It's Monday.
It makes a huge difference. And suddenly you have a nice atmosphere at home. The wife no longer says that he'll come home and swear for an hour instead of helping me. Horrible. You can change the world around you.
What should I say on Sunday when I have to go to work on Monday and I'm not really keen to do so?
That awful Monday again, but at least it will be over by nighttime. That's positive. Eager for it to end.
That's positive.
Sure, the truth is positive. Say I'm looking forward to Tuesday, so let's get Monday over with, which is normal. Saying that Monday is a great day might sound really weird. That's not the case.
What would the marketing for it be look like if we young idealists came up with it
For what?
for Monday?
For Monday?
For example, I tell myself that Monday will be good, then I'll have a good dinner, and everything will be, I don't know.
I'd say, Lord, get me through it. Or I'll pretend there's no Monday.
Pretend it doesn't exist. Because a lot of people just don't look forward to going to work on Sunday. So how to transform it?
How do you recognize people controlled by negative thinking and negative speaking?
How do I recognize them? Quite simply, I guess. I'd look at their surroundings, at the people around them. I'd listen to their speech, how they constantly swear and complain about things.
Verbally, they swear or say negative things. How else can you tell?
When they won't let you get a word in edgeways, when they only talk about themselves, when they're really self-absorbed, when they constantly interrupt you, criticize you, actually attack you. They don't know how to say. Today, just to give one example, I was in a taxi and there was a guy running alongside us and the taxi driver said, "Wow."
At 60?
At 60? Yeah, that would be cool. At 98. And this guy was running past us and the taxi driver was like, "How stupid is that? Running here in Prague among all these car fumes." I thought to myself, man, this guy is really working hard on himself.
Sure.
It's 7:30 in the morning. He's the greatest guy in the world. I didn't understand it at all. Perhaps I have positive thinking, maybe not in all situations, but that morning I did, and I didn't understand at all why the driver was criticizing him when the guy was working hard on himself. He had an amazing physique, and you could see that he was enjoying it and was probably running home from a park.
That's a common psychological mechanism called I'll slander what I can't have. It's how people cope with seeing better people.
But if something like that happens and I find myself in a situation like that, I immediately react by not being able to talk to those people at all.
An excellent example.
What can you say in reply to complaints? It's so annoying.
It's annoying, as it's like having something bad dumped on you.
Dumped where?
Something bad dumped right on you.
Or in your face? That's worse.
When someone's constantly complaining, I think of it as emotional noise they're spreading around. You don't do that in a lift. If you do, you're weird, even if your stomach hurts. But a lot of people think that they have the right to do it because their psychological stomach hurts, so they can let it out anytime. No, go around the corner. I'm not interested.
But that comes with age, being able to say, I really don't want to listen to this.
I came across some useful advice. Want to live the good life? Clean it up. Don't read junk. Don't talk junk. Don't talk to people who talk junk.
A lovely piece of advice, lovely.
Accept what you can't influence. If you don't read junk, you won't even know about it. And another one, also good, watch out for attachment. When you care deeply about something and can't achieve it, you start talking negative rubbish.
A kind of goal at work.
I want a promotion, I want a higher salary, I want to sell 8 million a month. A positive person should say to themselves, I'm going to try really hard, and if it works out, great, and if not, it doesn't matter. But as soon as you become attached to winning a Grand Slam or a tournament at all costs, it will torture and torment you.
What's the difference between being attached and being committed?
Being attached means that I have a goal, that I simply want to get an A in history.
Clear.
I work hard on it all year long, and I'm afraid I won't get it, and I'm nervous about every exam. I'm exhausted.
You're afraid?
You're afraid, there is fear, and then you get that A. 5 minutes of joy, but you've had a nasty whole year. Nonsense. A positive person will say to themselves, I'm going to do my absolute best to get that A. That's me, ambition, and when I get there, I'll celebrate. If I don't get there, at least I'll enjoy the journey. Andes. That's a completely different approach. Really, it sounds so trivial, but the moment you buy into a goal and say to yourself, I must have this at any cost, you turn your life into a living hell. It's a universal principle. Don't get attached to certain points or goals and be grateful for the journey you're on.
Right.
That's a really well thought out concept, and there will be times when you become attached to something. You need some turnover to cover the costs. That's what happens, or you have to pay off a loan. Then your life becomes miserable. You have to admit that you're really going to try, that it's okay to try, but don't get attached to that point.
Yes, I've also heard that attachment is the greatest source of suffering.
At the same time, companies set goals for people. They tell you, sell 70, otherwise you won't be here anymore. You'll get your bonus when you reach 100. They create attachment, and as a positive salesperson, you have to say, okay, I'm in, I'll give it a try. But you won't die if you fail.
Hey, but
You can't control everything.
now imagine young people, young girls on social media, seeing a beautiful model and suddenly thinking to themselves, I want to look like that. And you know,
Yesterday, I was watching a fashion show. After the tennis, a fashion show popped up on TV. It was a flood of 40 absolutely beautiful women. But really, it just has to depress everyone when they see them.
why does it have to depress everyone?
I mean, girls, when they see that, it becomes their benchmark. It's completely unattainable.
What should those girls say to themselves? They also need to deal with it positively or deal with it constructively? What should they say to themselves?
Nothing, I'm hot.
To think she's hot?
Everyone who wants to get married gets married.
Sure.
Everyone. Everyone has a partner somewhere.
Every product has a buyer.
I'm hot. I woke up in the morning and fell asleep in the evening. I like this wine. I'll have another glass.
I have achieved this in my life and I have gone through it all. I've experienced this and I've grown from this.
Take that fashion show. Would I like to be walking down the catwalk half naked right now? Or am I happy sitting in front of the TV in a sweatshirt with a bowl of chips? That's clear, right?
That's a clear choice. Absolutely.
It's a clear choice. You're fine and you have some more chips. The girls want to walk around, let them walk. I enjoy eating chips in my sweatshirt.
I'd also opt for chips.
Definitely.
I'd also vote for chips in my free time. By
the way, just today,
Then you'll jog through fumes.
it's coming to terms.
that situation was amazing. It really blew me away today. It's actually a good example of negative thinking. What situation? Well, like I was giving the example of the runner.
Yeah, I know.
And the taxi driver who said the runner was irrational. Why was he running here in Prague through car fumes?
Well, it's interesting. I see it in people's clothes. It's the first sign of falling into negativity when they stop taking care of themselves.
In their clothes, is it that simple? Their shoes aren't clean.
Men, women, all the same. Dirty shoes, uncut. Hair, untrimmed beards, unwashed clothes, unkempt nails. The first thing that degrades is clothing. You tell yourself, it's still okay. As soon as you say, it's still okay, you start falling apart. You see this a lot with old people. He's 80, he can barely walk, but he's dressed up in a uniform, a former soldier or something. He just made up his mind that he was definitely going to fight.
I really like that. I like it a lot.
That's why I really like women in our country. They are nearly all beautiful, but men have also started to take real care of themselves lately, and it looks amazing. It means that they have high standards, they have energy, they have a desire to do something with the world around them. That's the message.
That's really nice to hear. I usually get criticized when I dress nicely and do my hair nicely or something like that. And I always get treated like I'm weird these days, almost always.
Those who don't have it and see that you're trying hard and have energy will always come after you. They'll attack you. Whatever positive things you create, negative people will attack them. Get used to it. My grandmother used to tell me, Pavel, when people scream, you're walking the right path. And that's true.
How can you check that you're really on the right track, walking the right path?
You ask people that you trust and you ignore the others.
Ignore them.
Sure, whatever you start creating, people will jump on you. They'll start listing reasons why it won't work and why it's bad. And when they run out of ideas, they'll say, you're greedy and evil and I don't know what else. And also that they don't wish you any harm at all. I say, sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll look at what they're doing, see that it's nothing, and ignore them. That person is talking about themselves, not me, so I don't care about them at all. But if it's someone close to me, like from my circle, then I listen carefully, for sure. But these whiners, why?
Those close to you mean well. You chose them. They're positive and want you to progress and don't want to rob you. That's why you listen to them.
Yeah, but they're not the ones that hang on to your wings when you try to take off. As soon as you try to take off and build something, a lot of people will jump in and pull you down. The crab effect.
We talked about that. It was great.
You have to shake them off and move on. Negative people, they need to be avoided. Make a list of people who complain when they come over, and instead of once a week, try to meet them once a month, once every 6 months, or once a year. You'll see how your life will change.
I have a question about this. In our podcast, we talked about Cartman's triangle. That was the topic of one episode. We had Ms. Elena Vechitrova Prokaskova as our guest, and we were talking with her about the roles of victim, savior, or rescuer and tyrant. I'd be really interested to know whether, even though I meet negative people, I associate and deal with these people, despite the fact that I'm positive, whether I can somehow inspire them, help them without taking on the role of savior, because I understand that it's wonderful to only talk to positive people, but I could also do something for those negative people, inspire them in one way or another, and tell them, hey, you're not succeeding at this because you're doing this, and not to avoid them, but inspire them.
A question for Alena Večerová.
I'll have to ask her.
I'll tell you one thing, ignore them.
Ignore them.
I once knew someone who had a simple rule. When a conversation turned negative, she redirected it immediately. I really like that.
Wow.
She stopped the conversation immediately. No debate, no drama. She simply redirected it. She stopped it right away, and it worked.
Don't play the game. Don't even start.
Don't save them. Don't inspire them. Let's stop this here and move on and change the subject.
They will probably be very surprised, won't they, I imagine? And then they'll suddenly switch, maybe.
Try it. I don't know. People react in different ways.
They react differently. I was wondering if these people could be not saved, but inspired by this behavior. Your behavior?
No, they can't. Sometimes people are stuck in repetitive patterns and are not open to change. In those cases, a leader needs to set a firm boundary and disengage.
Yeah, I see. Do you have any comments about that? Or any good questions?
I just like to know when people appear who try to put you down or discourage you from your goal, how do you keep going? Where do you find the strength to just keep going? Is it like to believe in what I'm doing or something? And I say, I'm not going to listen to that. That guy is completely out of touch.
I think that those who've built something in life, whether it's a family, a sports club, a house, have enormous strength to resist these people. Every major city was built by a small group of people, while the much larger number stood on the sidelines explaining why it couldn't be done. That's normal. You have to persevere. You have to know that it'll come. And being positive means believing that you'll overcome it. It'll take longer, it'll cost more money, it'll be worse than you expected, but you'll do it. You know what's ever better? Those who kept saying that it couldn't be done and that it was stupid and so on. When you finish it, they'll say, I always said you could do it.
That's always the best part.
They don't want to look stupid. You start another project. Now it really won't work out.
Incredible. These people will always look for something negative.
We bought a piece of land and everyone said, you paid too much for it. It's a bad deal. Then we got a building permit for it and everyone said, see, that land was a great buy back then. Then the same guy said we wouldn't get the next one. I've experienced it many times and I always just say, well, I don't react because I know what I'm doing. I don't talk to these people at all.
Hindsight is always 20/20. I like that.
If we were to talk about what a true leader who leads people should be like, they would be like this. They behave nicely, politely, don't react to it, and know how to skillfully cut off negative speech and open up positive speech. I know a lot of company directors who are brilliant at this. Just sit there, and when someone grumbles, don't join in. But when someone makes a joke, join in. And that way you control what the fun will be and won't be about. It totally changes the team.
It's what you choose.
You choose.
There are people who have the ability to come up with something funny in every situation and change things.
That's awesome.
Because when someone tells a joke somewhere too formal or where something like that shouldn't be said, it completely relieves the tension and lightens the mood because jokes are wonderful things. Laugh together.
I think that if you want to switch to that constructive mode, I'd definitely have a good shower first, change my clothes, buy some new clothes, clean up my house and around the house, clean up that messy inbox, throw away all the unfinished stuff. It's called decluttering your head. It's an excellent thing. Then a list.
Tidy up your house, clear out your emails, buy some fancy new clothes, go to the hairdresser, have your beard trimmed.
And be a handsome guy.
Be a handsome guy. What does this mean for me? What will it do to me?
It really boosts your morale. Draw a line under everything that's happened and start again.
And what should I say to myself?
It's good.
I can do that. That's simple. Good.
Then you make a list of people who complain and you stop seeing them.
Okay.
Or you tell them, hey, stop it.
Usually I take a pen, write down names and say, this guy means well for me, always supports me, always helps me.
Make a list. Your family, your classmates from primary school, high school, and college, from the sports club, and I don't know where else. Who's fun to be with,
My portfolio.
and who's annoying. Get rid of the annoying ones. Put in customers who are easy to work with and ones who are not. Put in suppliers who are easy to work with and ones who are not. Clean it up. Like when you have a bowl of fruit, you throw it out. Rotten ones and leave the healthy ones. You have everything right to do that, so do it. Absolutely.
That's true.
It takes 5 minutes and you have your own in-house psychologist. And suddenly you say to yourself, wow, last month was great. I only met nice people who are fun to be around, who are cool. Or you say, today wasn't my day. Today was pointless. I'm sad. That's okay. But, that's just how it is and life goes on. I like this.
It's actually very simple.
We're able to clean our homes and change our clothes, but we simply don't know how to put our minds in order. And if you feel like discussing something, go to the gym or for a beer. Don't bring it home.
Go somewhere or to work. It happens that sometimes you have a bad day.
So go and work out at a gym or just go and hide somewhere. Whatever, some people resort to writing down their complaints and grievances. You can write them down. Ladies do it a lot, and I can say it's a good technique.
We have gyms and martial arts nowadays, which is fine. That's great. That's great. You'll leave as meek as a lamb.
Someone advised me to have an hour of swearing, which was also good.
What's that?
An actress said it. When she's in a bad mood, she goes home, draws the curtains, and starts swearing at everything. She does it for so long until she suddenly feels completely embarrassed and stops.
I'd like to see that recorded. It must be hilarious.
But it's a good technique. If you want to swear, swear alone. You'll lose interest and get bored after a while.
In addition, when no one can hear you, no one reacts.
Bad things will happen to us in life. That's just the way it is.
It's up to us how we take it.
I say to myself, okay, it went wrong, so I'll sleep it off and draw a line under it and start again on Monday. It's a fine art to live a good life because these things happen to everyone. I've heard that every 7 years you go through hell for happiness. Interesting.
Every 7 years?
Yes. Something nice will happen to you before you're 7. You have a family, they love you, but there'll also be something bad like an accident. Between the ages of 7 and 14, something amazing will happen, like meeting the best friends in your life, and at the same time something awful like your parents getting divorced. Between the ages of 14 and 21, you'll experience another terrible blow like COVID, and then something nice. Again, you'll fall in love. And when you look back on in those 7-year cycles, you'll find the dark years it took time to overcome and the joyful ones that also lasted a year or two. And in between, there'll be some neutral times, but that also means that in your remaining 7-year periods, you can not only expect 4 happy ones, but also 4 crappy ones. You won't know what kind, maybe financial problems. When you're rich, life finds something else for you. Life will always give you some crap. It will always bring you happiness, but it changes. It's good to be ready for it and say, it's here.
Is it good to write things down to keep track of what's happening to you?
You don't have to, but you have to accept it, come to terms with it somehow. As managers, we say that because I've experienced several economic crises. In the 1990s, the entire economy was restructured. In 1996, the banks collapsed. Then there were fears that computers would stop working in the year 2000. In 2001, technology companies collapsed. In 2008, there was the mortgage crisis. And in 2020, COVID came. Along COVID, war, and inflation, To put it simply, I've experienced 6 crises, and because I want to continue working for another 20 years, I think I can handle another 2 or 3. I don't know what they'll be, but I know roughly when they'll come. I don't know what they'll be about. I'm kind. Okay with that.
Constructive thinking in practice.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Still a lot to learn.
Yeah, well, you have to be okay with it. You won't freak out or break down. You'll prepare yourself with some resources, like a squirrel gathering nuts. You'll try to survive.
Do you think young people understand all this?
Yeah, when you put it like that, everyone remembers it, and it's okay. It's not a matter of age.
So the benefits of it are clear and we shouldn't pass on anything that would be complicated or difficult to understand, in my opinion. And what's more, we're all born with this trait, with this feature. We're naturally generous. We like people and we want to be around people who we like and get along well with.
Everyone's born with it, but few people can hold on to it.
That's a very good point. Absolutely. Everyone is born that way. Yes, Jung already said that people are primarily young and young.
That's right. Jung, yin and yang.
Yes, that's right. He really said that people are primarily born good. But then what kind of environment they will end up in is a question for psychologists. I'm not one, so let's move on.
You're not. Let's just say again that you really can choose. You can control your thinking in the same way you control your hygiene, where you live, and what you spend your money on. You can also control your thoughts. But it's not about painting negative things in a rosy light.
We young people do that quite often.
But it doesn't make sense. If it's screwed up, it's screwed up.
There's some idealism in it, a bit of do-gooding actually, straight up idealism. We young people are terrible idealists. We don't know how to deal with it. I don't want to generalize. Someone will roast me in the comments again. I think it just comes from social media. You know, everything looking so perfect there. And we don't really know what's real, what's not, and what's nonsense. And we have a problem with it, a pretty big one, but that's kind of how it is with us. So it's great that today we learned exactly how to actually practice it and what the benefits of positive thinking are. And I'd also be interested to know what a negative person actually looks like. We've been talking about positive people, so what a truly negative person looks like.
They usually work in a rigid system. Mostly they're officials. The rule is that every item you set as a manager shouldn't have more than 3 parameters. Have you ever played Twister?
Sure, it's great.
What's it about?
First you spin the wheel. Yes. You put your foot on a colored circle on the mat.
Red, blue, yellow. The funny thing is that people get so tangled up that they get to know each other quite well.
When you can smell someone's armpits, that's for sure.
You get to know them right away.
You're closer than you'd like to be.
We managers know that when you create a bonus system, it must have 1, 2, or 3 parameters. For example, if you reach a turnover of 100, you'll get a bonus of 100,000. That is 1 parameter, 100 for 100, you'll get it in December, for example. And I'll also tell you that half of that bonus will be for acquisitions, that you have to bring in 3 new customers. Everyone can do that. An inexperienced manager will set 17 parameters. There must also be returning customers and C customers, as well as 1 customer from the Cromer's region and also 1 product. They'll make it perfect instead of simple. Simplicity versus perfection, like a mastermind, and they play games of Twister. Do you know what the result is? The result is that no one follows it at all. And do you know why do they do it? Because they want perfection. And they only want perfection because they're afraid. They want to address every possible bad situation. When an official announces a grant program, it's hilarious, it's unbelievable, and it's impossible to fulfill. They announce money for education, but it must be limited exclusively to hard skills topics. I ask, what are those? We don't know. But not soft skills. There must be 12 people in the group. It can't be 11 or 13, 12. Period. You still manage to meet that requirement, they must be employees. Okay, so employees. And now here's the kicker. There must be 2 people over 55. Why did they do that? Intending well. They said there are unemployed people over 55. We'll give them a subsidy so they can get training. And what do companies get? Companies have 4 parameters and they say, forget it, I'm not taking that subsidy. It sits on their desk and a year later they're still sitting there and saying it's not being used. That's because you put 4 parameters in place. Or even 7. They even said that every participant, if they are self-employed, has to sign a de minimis declaration. When you have 12 people who are supposed to bring you a signed de minimis declaration, what do you think the probability is that all 12 people will do it exactly on time? 0. There's always one who complicates the whole thing. The first training session gets missed. The whole thing gets delayed and a bunch of negative stuff happens, and all this was decided by the person who set the criteria. That's why the criteria should always be set by the manager. Officials are only there to process things. They're not trained for it. It's a difficult test, the hardest part of management. And we see in state administration that an untrained official, nice Aunt Beth, who always did a great job and is a wonderful mother of 2, has been given the power, even the duty to make decisions and set criteria that even the best managers in corporations don't know how to deal with. She'll do it as best she can, that is, perfectly. Terrified that someone will take her down, she decides to set 17 criteria and it's total hell. Grants aren't drawn down, or tenders are held in the style of Czech road construction. Now they've cancelled the tender for the D11 motorway because one of the 89 parameters weren't met again. It's so stupid. We need to drive on the roads, and some official has set something up that's insanely complicated because they were negative from the outset because they were afraid that someone might cheat the system. They're afraid of something. There's negativity. There's that negativity from the beginning. Public service is incredibly negative. Then they'll explain to you that they've had a lot of bad experiences and that people are bad and they abuse the system, take advantage of it. Yes, that's true. They're right. Every system has 5% that you can't figure out. When you create a perfect system, you don't actually have that 5% covered. You end up with 100% mess. They teach you that at every management academy, but not among civil servants.
What about other countries?
Education is handled simply there. You say, I need money for training. At the tax office, they say, we'll give you 1% of what you've paid in taxes over the last 5 years. You get an amount for 5 years, say 25 million. 1% is 250,000, and boom, they send it to your account and write to you saying that they'll come in December to check if it really was spent on education.
That's all.
That's all. You just get the money by the next day.
That's nice.
It works? Sure. That's what a German manager told us. She said, I don't have time for nonsense like you guys to provide 17 documents like for a mortgage. But we Czechs are absolutely incredible at that. We set rules that are impossible to follow. They can't be met. Hey Mira, do you know the game Ludo?
I do.
What are the rules?
You roll the dice.
You need a 6 to start.
You have to roll a 6 to start from home.
Home square.
You move by how many you roll.
When you land on an opponent's piece,
You kick them off back to their home square.
imagine you're a civil servant and want to improve things. Single parents can roll twice even after a 3.
Yes?
Some people can roll the dice 2 to 6 times because of some other rule.
Yeah, we young people would really like that.
We'll roll a wooden dice for the sake of the environment. And those over 55 can also send opponents back to the start. They can move back. There must be a break every 10 minutes. Now you read the rules of the game and say, I'm not playing this nonsense. I'm going for a smoke. Like Monopoly, nobody wants to play it because everyone gets bored with how stupid it is. But they think they've improved it. If, as a manager, you do something complicated, it always fails. It has to be simple. Genius lies in simplicity, not in perfection and complexity. You can't explain it to them. I don't blame them. They're not bad people. They're trying. But no one trained them, no one taught them, and they're being asked to do it. I think they should be given back the tasks they're best at so that they're happy and also so we're happy. We look forward to the day when officials stop setting rules, which they're not good at, or hire managers who can do it.
This is an appeal to the public sector through this podcast.
Or large companies, they behave the same way. They just put out a tender for development to HR where there are bureaucrats who operate under the motto, I'm married. Well, I just don't know who to. I followed the correct process and I'm not interested in the outcome.
How is it possible that people can't see this whole thing? How stupid it is? Aren't they thinking or what?
No. These are people who see the world this way. They don't care about the meaning. They care about not making mistakes. So they set up a super complicated process to check off. They don't care about the result, but that they're off the hook. Fear, negative thinking is behind it. Fear.
I do the job and I don't really care.
And mainly they're in the clear.
Terrible.
It's terrible. And the negativity starts right here.
I wouldn't say it has that much of an impact.
It has a huge impact, I think negativity has a much harsher impact than climate change at the moment. Undoubtedly, bureaucrats in general, whether in companies or in public service, have become so widespread and have started making so many decisions about everything that they're a much bigger problem for everything than all the climate change put together, which I'm not denying. Climate change is real, but this is much worse, much worse. It chokes life in all its aspects and actually ties people up in a game of Twister so much that those who could create and give people jobs either find it impossible or they say, I'm not going to play this game of Ludo. You close your factory here and open one in America where it's easier. That's how we lose our jobs, because of this.
And is this the main reason why we Czechs sold off all our industry and large corporations? Is that the reason?
That's a complex question, but no, civil servants should process things. It means that they get instructions and they process things according to them, like a computer program. They're great at that. They just shouldn't make decisions.
No decision making, exactly.
Decisions should be made by a manager or someone who has the expertise. They have an economics degree and have been trained for it. They understand the rules. They can turn them into a checklist and make it simple. Once I couldn't stand it anymore and went to the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs to see who had written up a grant. Two guys like you came in. They were 25, both wearing dirty sweaters, the nice type without girlfriends. They said, we've been here for a year, and they gave us the task of writing the grant, so we wrote it. I said, guys, have you ever been to the factory of the recipient of the grant? No, we haven't. Do you have any college education? No, we were just given this assignment. You know what's interesting? People try to follow it. Well, because they wrote it in a certain way to fulfill the task and get it over with, and those outside thought that it was written by some experts, that they thought it through, and they tried to follow it. Utterly absurd. You can't even be angry with them. They were good guys, but they wrote complete nonsense, and about 1,000 people followed it and distributed about 4 or 5 billion. I say take that money and give it to single parents. It would do much more good rather than this nonsense. They then say, but those entrepreneurs are cheating to get it. I say, what are you surprised about? It's like they're playing Twister, twisted 3 times, bent twice, trying to breathe. That's not cheating. That's just trying to stay alive.
So make it simple.
Make it simple and trust that eventually the money will end up in the economy anyway. Do it a bit simpler. So I made the mistake, so it didn't work out. I'll do it better the second time around, but I won't cover every single risk. An example. As children, we rode our bikes without helmets. Our mother didn't even know where we were, and we all survived. Today you have a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads. Mobile phone, surveillance of everything. Fear, 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 fear. How come we survived and we're happy?
But that's good. That's really great. That's true today. Oh, yeah.
Fear is the source of all negativity. What we need is to be a little bit brave and not be scared. You can't secure everything. Jump in and see what happens.
At worst, I'll try again. Do you think that this might be the reason why our generation is so fragile? Because we've been wrapped up in those little helmets and elbow pads and knee pads since we were little kids, and no one actually lets us go anywhere?
Don't know, maybe.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. It just seems to me that that's it, that we worry about our children too much. That is exactly what you said, right? That you didn't have any of it.
Some people focus on protecting what exists, while others focus on pushing forward and taking risks.
Well, something to think about. Sure, something to think about.
The fear is there. I think the positive approach is to not be afraid of making mistakes. I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to take risks. I'm not afraid of crashing. My bike, cuts will heal.
It's nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly how we learn. Crashing, being late, whatever.
Exactly.
But also take something away from it, of course.
Exactly. That's the positive approach. Speak positively. Don't talk crap. Don't read crap. Don't hang around with people who talk crap. That's all you need to do. Believe that things are more likely to succeed than fail. Not that it's 100% certain, but they're more likely to succeed than fail. Do your best.
Always find something positive, a pretty earring, a pretty ear, something.
Maybe you're a tennis player and you didn't win that many tournaments, but you had a wonderful life. You played tennis, you have friends there, it was fun, you enjoyed the journey. You didn't reach your goal, but enjoyed a wonderful journey.
That's good. And maybe that's what it's all about, the journey, the present moment.
We've all read that. We might not believe it, but it is true.
It's true.
Of course it is, of course. That's why I think that everyone can decide what kind of life they want to live.
Are there any books or TV series on constructive thinking? Norbert and I were actually preparing for this topic yesterday.
Heaps of books and articles.
Heaps of books and articles. And it's called Positive Thinking, and it comes from English.
From English.
If someone wants to learn more, if they're interested and want to find out more about it, they can find books.
There are lots of books out there, 90% of which are bad. They're books written just so that people buy them and someone makes money off them.
Marketing chatter.
Marketing chatter.
Can you think of one? Anything that's worth reading?
You don't need books. There's no need for them. Just go home and don't talk nonsense for a week. Let me know how it went next time. You'll change the world. And myself, when you talk nonsense, it's like a factory slowly releasing pollutants into the air and everyone around is forced to breathe it in. Or like a cloud of fine dust spreading everywhere. If you don't do it for a week and the 2 of us join you, then 3 people won't be doing it. That's a big change. It changes everything.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
Every morning without junk talk.
How can I check up on it?
You can't. We'll call each other.
Hi, did you say something wrong?
Any bad words? Are your thoughts positive?
So we young people are going for it. We'll give it a week. Dear viewers and listeners, try it and let us know if it made a difference, if it works for you, or if we're just talking rubbish. We don't know. Let us know.
It's not lying, it's not idealism, it's not naivety. Something bad happened, so I say, okay, today is a bad day, tomorrow will be fine, and the day after that I won't talk about it anymore and I'll move on. I get up, dust myself off, and move on. That's the trick.
That's the trick. Great. Good luck, guys. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.